exactly what we're doing right now. And like, so I've been listening to that thing that you sent me, and I'm like, it's just been really invigorating. I realized how excited I was from it, like just because like even the way that we started out this conversation, I was like, I gotta let the world know, like it's happening. Um, and like I want to just slow down really quickly because we're going to spend this conversation really in service of you and exploring that. I think that a lot of times people like I want to slow down a little bit into like the evolution of saying yes to the remix, right? Because you've known that for a bit,
Yeah.
and it just kind of showed
Yeah.
up in a conversation that we were having, and it was just in there. So, can we go back to that conversation that we had without having to go through
Absolutely.
all the details? I was just really kind of. I remember there you had like another path. You're like, okay, I'm going to go down, but the path is going to be this. I'm going to like there were all these different steps in the like that you had to do, and then I
Yeah.
was going to jump over. Can you tell us about that? Remind me about that. Yeah.
So my engineering brain, very logical. Like I'm gonna launch group coaching. I'm gonna get into corporate coaching, and then maybe when I retire from corporate, then I'll start working into this new passion. And we're just talking, we're having this conversation, and he's like, what do you really want to do? Like, really, really want to do? Like, I mean, you seem excited about this and you can make it work, but like, what do you really want to do? And it was just like, he sent me because it was like, right? Like, you could see through my BS. Like,
Yeah, if I remember right, you were telling, like, you had answered that question beforehand, and you had told me this answer, and for some reason I completely forgot. And I asked you, what do you really want to do? And you answered it again. And if I remember, I was like, kind of like sitting back, just like listening, hearing about this whole corporate thing. And then you said like, and then after all that, like, then I want to really get into like, I really want to be like a speaker. I have this thing out here. And like, I really love like the way that music and motivational words come together. And it's interesting because I won't forget that conversation because all of a sudden the energy in my body just like shifted. I was like, I went from back here to just like sitting on the edge of my seats. I was like, fine, like there's something like, whoa, this is interesting.
Yeah. So, but it was the first time that I really told anyone about that. And the excitement of sharing and the excitement of seeing it like released into the open and like given the freedom of like, oh, you have this thing that's built up in your head to be really cool. It's not as unachievable as you might think. And so it was like you just brought it closer and closer and closer and closer to like, no, we could do this like with this call right now. And it was like, hold up, let's hit record and remix our conversation. And it was just like, wow, this is really achievable. So something that I thought was going to be like, you know, years and consultants and research, and don't get me wrong, it probably still includes all of that, but like we can start now from the excitement, which is what carries us through so much.
You have like the things like you have the vision, like that conversation we had was maybe 3 weeks ago, and you've already sent me like my first ever remix video. I feel like I'm like, I can see the future on this one here. And I'm like, it like in 3 weeks, this idea that was so far away has now like become a reality. We're able to share it. And it's the beginning. We both know it's the beginning of something that's going to grow beyond that. We're just getting started. Click on the link below to watch the full conversation and go to niyamaashan.com/tribe to get additional resources and exclusive invitation to tribe only events. Journey on.